Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in another broadcast in the Roofing on the Rise studios, where we bring you innovation and education in today's market. Today and every day, we are sponsored by the Chad T. Wilson Law Firm. When the insurance carrier denies, delays, and defends their position, reach out to me, get you in contact with the right people at Chad T. Wilson Law Firm. And if you give me a call, I might even get you hooked up. I've got one of these left. It's a JBL clip. It's freaking awesome. They're waterproof. It's branded Chad T. Wilson. So hit me up and we'll get that going. Today and every day, we have an awesome guest and topic. Today will be no different. If you're watching and you're looking, you can see who's here. It's Ryan Stewman. Guy needs no introduction. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I am awesome. How are you doing?
Man, I'm stoked. I'm excited to have you on today. As I mute my phone.
Yeah, man.
Rookie
I'm excited to
mistake.
be on today. You know, I'm
So
just over here thinking about Chad T. Wilson, and I'm like, I think lawyers are the only people that like use a middle initial. I think that's just the branding. That's just like part of the branding for being a lawyer. You know, you can't. There's too many Chad Wilsons, but there's like one Chad T. Wilson. He's your guy.
yes,
That
dude.
just sounds more legal. You know what I mean?
y-
How are you going to defend the law if you're not even
Yeah,
defending the lawful initial that stands
ab-
all alone, lonely? You just forget about it. You don't even talk about the initial. It's like for most of us, it's just non-existent. It's like a middle child. You know?
that's an interesting thing to bring up. Like 100%. I don't think I've now that you think of, like sit there and think who actually use it. I think maybe realtors very rarely use it, right? Doctors and lawyers, you hit it right on the freaking button, dude. That was freaking awesome. Their brand too is pretty cool. So it's an
When
anchor.
they say your full legal name, they take that shit seriously. You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's an anchor, and it's also the scales. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
they're your anchor of defense against the bad faith from the insurance carriers. So
yeah.
their branding is freaking on point too.
One
Speaking
thing
of
only.
branding,
I feel
your
like me and
freaking
Chad
brand,
can both agree that the insurance companies are crooks. We know that. So, you know,
dude. Yeah, they're. We were just talking about the path of destruction of Beryl, and dude, it's insane thinking about the amount of people that were affected in this last hurricane and then the hurricane that just hit Florida. Think about the amount of insurance carriers that will tell people no and how much people are suffering over that, right? It
well,
just
dude, and like that's one piece of it. And the
yeah.
ones that the insurance companies just leave. And so now the ones that are left behind are the super greedy ones. So now you've got a 4% deductible on your homeowner. So now you're like praying to God your shit doesn't get messed with because now your deductible, you got a house that you bought. Like, think a lot of people, they got a house they bought for $500,000 5-10 years ago. Now that thing's worth $1.5 million,
Yep.
depending on what part of the Florida that they're in. And so they had a 1% deductible at 500 grand. Okay, cool. That's $5,000, but a 4% deductible at $1.5 million. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a whole, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole
Yeah.
ass game changer. Shit. And
Yeah.
then, you know, that also puts a lot of tradespeople out of business because, you know, used to you could go do the roof and you're saving them a whole bunch of money. When that gap narrows, that's going to actually decrease demand as well. The big problem that I have is like, you know, in Florida, they cap us from raising rent in certain cities down there, and
Yeah.
at the same time, the insurance companies they can just triple your policy because I own properties down there, and so they're like saying, hey,
Okay.
you can only raise rent by like 7% max, but meanwhile, your insurance costs are going up 300%, and now that your home's not worth $500,000, it's worth $1.5 million. We're going to increase your property taxes as well, but you can't raise rent.
That
You
doesn't
got,
make sense.
dude,
That's built to fail right there.
it's fucking crazy. But that's the shit. And so, like I said, the people in Florida, they don't even know the actual long term economics. And I'm sure some of them do because there's lots of smart
Right.
people there. But if they haven't experienced it firsthand, not understanding that this means insurance is going to go up again. This means deductibles are going to get bigger. This means that the property taxes are probably going to reassess because they're going to need this money to rebuild roads. And then there's going to be
insurance carriers are going to close, like you
Yeah.
were saying earlier. So UPC insurance carrier, they closed about 12 months ago, 16, 18 months ago. That insurance carrier was covering properties in the South, so all the way into Texas, Louisiana, and they shut down. And so when they shut down and claims are open, what happens? The not
Court, oh,
only
I don't know.
well, think about this. It affects everyone. It affects the policyholder. They don't have their payment complete. They get a lien on their house because the contractor isn't paid. The contractor now has to fit out all that money as well, and so now the contractor is holding the bill for everything. And then you're just like in lieu. So I think
Yeah.
it's you know the short term, long term of these storms, it's just really not talked about. And I know that I think the biggest thing that people were focused on were Diddy, or that the okay, like the hurricanes were man made. Albeit I did cover some of that stuff. I'm not like completely focused on that. Like I'm trying to help the people understand what exactly is going to happen there and try to help the people get out. I mean, there are options for these homeowners now that are dealing with the lieu of payment from the insurance carrier. Um, there's definitely things to be done. There's real estate deals that can be done, that can help benefit the homeowner and everybody involved.
You know what I think
Um,
people should do if they're in that problem, if they're having that problem? They
what,
should call Chad T. Wilson.
dude? That's it.
I hear
That's
that
it,
guy can get the job done.
dude. That's it. So the entirety of Chad T is uh is their ability to go out and fight that insurance carrier and help that property owner. So they're going to work with everyone. Like they're going to work with the uh
If
what,
that
what,
shit closes down, who do they work with? Surely they've got an escrow account of what
so
they might be liable
so
for
they
during this
so
time,
they've
right?
dealt with this as well. Like
Yeah,
when the insurance carrier closes down, what happens? They have to go to the state. So they're suing the state for that money so that that policyholder can get that money. Now, don't quote me 100%, right?
yeah.
Contact Chad T. Wilson on that. Make sure that, this is a case by case basis. Got to call him. But the thing is that you got to do it, And so I referred out uh, a commercial property last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago. And the biggest thing for them, and I told them this, was speed to lead. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, dude, I'm giving you the information and you're asking me when it's going to get done. Well, it won't get done until you give them the info that they need. And
Yeah.
so, it's important that you have your policy documents in place. If you're out there and you're wondering what's going on, definitely have your policy documents in place so that whenever you do call Chad T. Wilson, that you could refer directly to that and send that over to them because they're going to ask for a big packet of information from you. But the
You know what?
information,
That
they got to
came from
fight. Like
and
yeah,
that they got an 8-minute commercial and they're going to absolutely be like, what? That's crazy. Like, just let them know that you came from here. It's like, dude, they talked about you guys for like 8 minutes.
yes,
Because
absolutely. So
their sponsored dollars are working well on this show. Let them
I'm
know.
just telling you. So behind you is an amazing brand, Apex. You've been building this brand for quite some time. I remember when you guys bought the building, when you put the signage up, super super excited to see the growth and see where you're headed now. But dude, why Apex? Like what started this? Why did you what made Ryan Stewman?
Well, I don't think it would be nice to sit here and be like, there was this pivotal moment in my life or whatever the case may be, but My life's no different than anybody else's, a series of challenges that had to make the decision to go through or get around or avoid or whatever the case may be, and have made some good decisions and some bad decisions. But in 2018, I have been running a program similar to Apex for a long time called Break Free Academy, and we had a couple of spin-offs from it. And in 2018, I I was up in Washington State, and there was a sign that said Apex, and it was like pointing to the top of this mountain or whatever. And I thought that's pretty cool. That's kind of a metaphor for life, and that word is kind of stuck with me. And it's one of those things where I never really, I mean, I'm sure I've heard the word before, I'm sure it's been used or whatever, but you never really think about it because it's not anything you're focused on. And then, I'm like, I think I'm gonna, at the time I was doing just sales and marketing was really what I was teaching, but I that was never really my plan. I never wanted to just be a sales trainer or a marketing guy. I feel like I have so much more to offer, and the ability to see problems and solutions paired together and helping people out. So I wanted to build something that wasn't just Ryan Stewman. It wasn't just sales and marketing. So I set off to build a brand and a community that represents that brand. And we've been doing that now for 6 years. And we have had a lot of members right now. I think our current roster is around 2,200, but it ultimately, the brand stands for personal excellence. So we're trying to help as many people as possible become the greatest version of themselves. That's in, the way that they look, the way that they feel, the way that they think about money, the way that they go into the workforce, the way that they deal with their relationships. We have a strong belief that there's 4 areas in life that if you'll focus and master uh, these 4 areas and hitting goals in these 4 areas, then you become this unstoppable machine for good and growth that can help you get closer every day. And you shouldn't be the greatest version of yourself until the day that you pass away. You should never stop chasing that.
Right.
And it's not a you got to work 13 hours a day and you got to go out here and like carry boats at 5 a.m. into a freezing cold. It's not like that. It's just like, hey,
Yeah.
here's some simple things that if you'll really dig in and really live by these simple things and go all in with them, it'll make a tremendous difference over time in your life in general, right?
Yeah.
A lot of that revolves around money because it takes money to do everything but breathe these days. And so and the more money you make, the bigger of an impact you can make, whether it be for your family, your business, your community, your church, whatever that thing is. And so that drives people. So, but it also helps, if you're married, we want to keep married people together. Maybe you're the person in the family that works out and your significant other doesn't, we want to get everybody on that path together. So I just feel like we created a movement to help people step into a better version of themselves. And, all that started from just me doing sales and marketing and deciding I wanted to do something more. I felt like, because man, what would happen is I would help somebody make money in sales or whatever, and then they would possibly develop bad habits. Not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah.
They get a little extra money. They're blowing
Yeah.
money on dumb shit. Now they're going out to the bar or the strip club, or now they got problems at home because now they got money and they have an ego, and so now they're fighting with their significant other. And it's like, man, I feel like I'm doing people a disservice if I'm teaching them how to make money and I'm not teaching them how to be a better person.
Yeah. That's a good point. I've found myself, falling into the same trap. Um,
Dude,
and
we
that's
all have. I'm teaching
dude,
from experience.
dude, it's so difficult to remain focused, like laser focused, because we're so programmed to like live in this we're in this like microwave society, and your phone has notifications, and these notifications are hooked up to all your social media, and of course this is a small hit of dopamine, like each little bit, right? And we're meant to just sit there and chase it and chase it and chase it and chase it. The fact that you said that, really resonates, because I think a lot of people deal with that, right? Like, um, they make a little extra money and they get a little cocky and man, I've lost everything, literally lost everything because I've let that pride get in my way. And it's taken to get around people that know more than I do, that invest, that love, that don't hate, and all these things. Like it kind of sounds crazy, but they all breed from just like insecurities, right? And so you saying that there are 4 tenets that Apex helps revolve around and help train these people to not only be, fiscally responsible, but also responsible in their life and be a better version of themselves. I think that's awesome. Not everybody does that. A lot of these programs that I see are about the like, look at me, and it's all about the dopamine hit instead of really to bring people like to recenter and refocus, which is what
But
it sounds like to me your program does.
you know that's important though. Like
Yeah.
the and so does the average person. And these look at me people, it's great. I played that game before. I think it's getting played out because I think what really folks are looking for is like, yeah, he's got a nice car, but do I want his life? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's, she's flying in a private jet, but is that what I want to do? Do I want to have to go to the Maldives with some old man that I'm not interested in, or whatever those things are, and
Right.
I think what people are starting to see now, we've come through this social media, then people figured out how to fake it till they make it on social media. And now I think folks are really seeing, oh, okay, wow, they seem to have a good family and they own a family operated business and they seem to do pretty good over there and they seem to be good members of the communities. A lot of people like these folks. I think people are starting to see that authentic side of folks and really understand who's who too. It's
Yeah.
slowly, the market's becoming aware at a faster pace than they did in the past. But
I agree.
you know, uh, uh, you're right though. You
Speaking
know,
of family, I see, your posts about the kids all the time. Uh I think you had some post about,
have a
I don't know,
shitload of kids.
dude, dude, one of these posts the other day that you'd put up, I was reading it and it was so freaking hilarious. It's just like I read it and I'm like, dude, that's kids, dog. Like that is just that's boys. that's that's that is kids. It's what they do. I freaking love it. And being able to see that side, you hit that authenticity on the head, and people are starting to like to see that type of thing. Just crazy. Like a year ago, you were to look at the analytics of your posts and see what people clicked on and what they engaged on, like your family and stuff. And like a year and 2 years ago, it was weird. It was like when I posted pictures and things like that, and engaging stuff about my religious life and stuff, like nobody cared, right? Sobriety, nothing. Now, like in the last 2 to 3 years, sobriety's become popular. Authenticity has become a little bit more popular. And then like really, I think the alpha male thing is a little bit more of a thing, right? Like people are really getting into, like even celebrities are. I seen this post that was recirculated 3 or 4 times on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, all that stuff. About these chicks going after, you know, real guys like farmers and stuff instead of like, your rappers and et cetera,
Oh,
because it's just like it's not cool to date a rapper anymore. But it is cool to date a farmer that's got 16 acres and a freaking back 40. You know what I mean? Like, um,
that's a lot of
it's
money.
right. It's a lot of
Land,
money.
land's expensive. That's right.
So yeah, so that's where I came from. I live in the city now, but I'm a country boy, man. That's my roots. Like that's where I came from. Where did you come from?
Yeah, I'm not from around here. No, I'm just kidding. I've lived in Texas my whole life.
Really?
So, yeah, I came
Where
from here and stayed here. Haven't left here.
where were you
Uh,
born?
Dallas.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Not too far away.
down Dallas. Yeah, and I live about 20 minutes from there still. So,
Okay. So I met my wife in Lake Whitney, which is
okay,
south of
yeah,
Dallas.
yeah.
A
What the hell were you
absolute
doing out in the middle of nowhere looking for a wife?
I don't know, drugs and alcohol was big part
There's
of
a
my
lot of that
life.
Lake Whitney. Yeah, there's meth, a lot of meth out there.
So I
So,
never and all my friends ended up doing that. I was more like the powder baby,
yeah, got it.
which there's nothing different, like, there's really no difference
I was
between
like,
them. But
you just tried to one up one with the other. I'm like, yeah, they're the same.
I know, they're the same. Yeah, that was it. I mean, I really don't even know, like, why Lake Whitney? That was a very, very good
Hey,
question. I
things
met a lot of people,
get out
though.
there. You met your girl. Now you're sober. You get your shit together. See, that was just the domino effect for things working out in your life. So shout out to Lake Whitney.
Oh, dude, absolutely, yeah, that place reminds me consistently. Actually, it's a driving factor of the podcast because there are a lot of people that are stuck in their own way, dude, and they can't get out of it, and there are some people that are watching that they're getting motivation for this, and, like, they went out and they've got their LLC, and they're putting it in, they're trying to do what's right in their life to get a business or and that's what they feel is right, and so yeah, big shout out to Lake Whitney. Big shout out to consistency, dude. I like seeing your posts, and I really, really enjoy, uh, you know, when you engage with the haters, dude. Like that just kind of like it fuels me up, bro. Tell me a little bit about the haters and how you deal with the haters.
Well, I've had to change my damn strategy several times over the years.
Yeah,
They say in sales you got to have thick skin, and I've always had pretty thick skin in sales. I can take no's and never combative towards the prospect, and always been respectful and everything else. And man, for a long time, it took me getting used to having thick skin as a person that's online. I'm not like famous by any stretch of the imagination or anything like that, but having a few people that whether you live in a small town and everybody from the grocery store owner to the local farmer, they all know who you are because you have a community, or whether it's online on Facebook, and a lot of people who follow us in the community obviously know who we are and stuff. And I never intentionally try to piss anybody off.
yeah,
And it's funny, I have been in the business selling, probably the first time that I ever had any kind of a hater. I was in the business of selling, $5,000 to $25,000 products, and I wrote a book, and so I'm giving this book away for $10, basically, just pay for shipping or whatever. And people would start in the comments like, this guy's a scammer. Like, I have been doing $5,000 and $25,000 products only for like 4 or 5 years at this point, and never had a complaint or nothing. But now
yeah,
these people are paying $10 and they're like, this guy's stealing from us. And I'm trying to defend myself and explain, it's like, why would I steal $10 from you? I don't even, it would take, like, why would I risk my reputation over here to take $10 from you? Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, wow, okay, this is then as I started gaining more popularity and things like that, I realized that, hell, I want to make everybody happy, dude. I'm really here to try to help everybody become a better version of themselves, and I'm trying my best to lead the way. I'm far from perfect, but I'm trying my best to lead the way, and at least lead the conversation that can lead us in the way. And over the years, when you had like 84,000 or so people buy your stuff like we have, even if I have a 99.9% success rate, that's still 2 or 3 thousand people that are not happy with their services. And we probably have a couple hundred people that maybe used to work here, or, you know, maybe they're mad that they didn't get their book immediately for $10 or whatever the case may be, right? Or
Right.
people we might have had to remove from the program for non-payment or breach of contract or some shit like that. But it's not a lot of them. But,
Yeah.
you know, when they used to say negative stuff, man, I felt like A, I needed to defend myself.
Yeah.
And B, man, that shit hurt my damn feelings, motherfucker. You know, it really, really, I
Yeah.
can't let the outside world see that, because I got to be like, you know,
Right.
this. But the shit really did, because a lot of times when you see somebody hating on your shit, in my experience, it's usually the people that behind the scenes you've done a bunch of shit for. You know, like the people that you helped, and now they're mad at you, and for maybe you stopped helping them as much, or you told them you'd help them all you could for the time being, and now they're mad and they want to go make you the bad guy. And, you know, as I got and initially, I, like, you know, 10 years ago, I talked shit back and forth with people and all this stuff, you
Yeah.
know. But there became a point where it was like, hey, I have some things, you know, I have a little bit of money, and I have not a lot, you know, but enough. And, you know, I have some assets and some good businesses. And, you know, I should probably really be careful what I say, or what could be misconstrued online or whatever. It really, you know, somebody could call me out. If you don't have two nickels to rub together, you could, you know, oh, Stewman's piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. You know, he kicks his dog, or whatever you want to say. And
Right.
and maybe I lose a lot of business because you said I kicked my dog. But like at the same time, like, what am I going to get out of you if you don't own a home, you don't own a car, you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus if I said that, hey, Stewman kicks his dog, and they're like, oh, but this dude's got money, I can go sue him or whatever, whether it's the truth or not, right? Like, he'll end up settling. So, you know, I've had to really learn to deal with the haters quite differently, because now all of a sudden whatever I say can be used against me.
Right.
And whatever they say can be used against them too, but they don't got shit going for them. So I try not to fuel them as much. So if I speak to something, it's typically very much matter of factly. It's not an opinion or you know, an opinion. It's an experience, you know.
Yeah. So, have you always been successful, or was there a low point in your life?
Shit. Well, I haven't always been successful, but I made
Yeah.
my first like big year. I made like six figures in 2004, and then I made almost seven figures in 2005. So
Yeah.
in 2005, I made, you know, 700 or so $1,000. And that was the, you know, shit, I'm 26 years old. I thought I had figured out the cheat code to life. I'm going to be worth, I mean, I was picking out the color of my Bentley and my private jet and my mansion up in Nantucket. I was like, my vision board was something else, you know. And
Yeah.
and then uh, I ended up going to prison in 2007.
Oh
I think
shit.
it's for a federal firearms charge.
Oh,
And,
wow.
long story short, so I'm like this person that, you know, I had already been to prison one time before
Got
when I
like a
was.
bazooka or something, like.
No, man, it was just a three three 357 Glock. But the way that it, you know, I had been in prison when I was a teenager, so there's some weird laws in some states versus the Fed. So some
Okay.
states like Texas, you can have a gun again, and then the Feds, apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but apparently the Feds, they don't recognize the state's rights to give you your rights to bear arms back. Texas is one of these states where, like, if you do your time,
Wow.
as long as you're not a murderer or a
Yeah.
sex crime person or whatever the case may be, then once you've done your time and you're off parole, you're a free man again. You can go vote, you can go do whatever. Again, there's exceptions to that.
Yeah.
Like if you're a person that committed a sex crime, you got to go in the registry or some shit
Right.
like that. But I don't fucking have
And they're
none of
like
that.
a 10 and they're like a 10-year rule on firearms or something in Texas,
It's
where
5.
it's 5, okay.
Yeah.
So after the 5 years, you got a firearm, and then they popped
And
your ass.
so, but the feds, they don't recognize that. So the feds say, hey, we didn't give you that right back. It's against the federal
Oof.
crime. And so,
Oof.
but, you know, so
That sucks.
you talk about a low point, man. I walk into this prison because you got to turn yourself into federal prison. Like they give you a date and they're like, okay, you're guilty. On this date, drive yourself to prison. That's like how it
What?
works.
What?
And so
What?
Yeah, like, most of the time you
That's
see
wild.
the guy goes to prison right there in handcuffs from the court, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, like,
Yeah.
now the feds are like, "You got 60 days to get your shit together and then be at
Well,
this time."
that's kind of nice, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, those 60 days go fast as fuck, bro.
I
You know,
bet.
and,
Ooh.
but so I walk in, I'm married, I got, houses and money and things going well for me. And about 6 months into it, I get this like, "Dear John, I'm leaving you. I fell in love with somebody else," kind of letter. And, so I like walk out of prison, divorced, no
Damn,
wife,
dog.
no life, no houses, no money.
Damn.
And moved into a halfway house. It fucking sucked.
Mm.
But I knew that, hey man, like I went from no money to having money,
Yeah.
so I can go back and get money again.
Right.
And so I did. Went back into the finance business and did a pretty good job. And then guess what happened? In 2010, Obama signed this thing called the Dodd-Frank Act. And in the Dodd-Frank Act, it said, if you're a convicted felon and it's been less than 7 years, you can't get a license to do mortgages. I'm still sitting on probation at this point. Like in the federal time, you go do time and then you get out and it's called probation instead of parole. But so
Yeah.
I'm on probation after the fact that I've done my prison time. And so
Yeah.
I lost my ability to do mortgages. So you
Ugh.
think about this. You're like, have you ever had a low point? You ever been a millionaire, then not a millionaire, then a millionaire again, then not a millionaire again? Like these are like crazy meteoric highs of like the coolest shit that you could accomplish as a business person, a man, whatever, a provider for your family,
Right.
followed by some of the worst fucking things that can happen. You lose a job, you lose your ability to earn, you lose your freedom, and you lose the people that you love, man. I've been through some really fucking low spots, but I never quit. I never was like, oh shit, that's something I can't come back from. I'm like,
What was your why? Like, what?
spend time. I'm like, that's going to be a tough one to come back from, but I still think I can do it. So,
Dude, I'm sitting here, I'm like, what was this? What is this? Why? Like, what was driving you? Because that's that's a lot of shit. That's a lot to like for anybody to deal with. Um, how did you
yeah.
deal with that?
Well, my first why was, I didn't like the first time when I got out of prison and I worked hard and I got into a good situation and made legal money. Then when I went to prison, I'm like, shit, I got out. My why was like, okay, this woman broke my heart. She, ran off with this dude and left me with nothing. And I left her with, like $1 million or whatever the case, whatever it ended up working out to be. It's like, how could you? How dare you? So there's this like, for most people, there's this like dark energy that we can tap into. It's like this dark place that we can go to, and we're like, I'm gonna prove every motherfucker that ever doubted me, every thought that I couldn't do it, and we go to that fucking dark place of just fucking win after win after win after win after win, and refusing to fucking give up. Take a loss, lick your wounds, get the fuck up. And then what happens is at some point you look up and you're like, oh shit, I won way more than anybody I was competing against in my mind. Like, I don't know, it's like they're not even up here on the same fucking racetrack
Right.
as we're anymore. Shit, I'm 3 cities in front of them.
Yeah.
If we were running the gumball, hell, I'm in the next state over. And
Yeah.
so, in but then at some point, and here's kind of a problem that I've gone through, recently in my life, is at some point, like you're not mad at anybody anymore. Your life becomes pretty good, and I've got a little money and security, and I've remarried. Obviously, I've got kids now, and life's pretty good. And it's like, dude, I need some more of that dark energy, but I need to figure out a good place to get it from. I need some. I miss
Yeah.
that drive. I miss that wanting to like run the fucking score up, and I don't really have that anymore because all those people who hurt me or doubted me, they're like nowhere near where we're at any level. They're nowhere near the parent I am, nowhere near the husband I am, nowhere near the business person. So it's like, okay, these people that I was in the zone for trying to just, 10, 15 years ago prove that I have my shit together, they're non-existent anymore, basically. So, you got to come up with a new goal, right? So like,
So you feel like you're at your best when you're in your primal fear moment, like you're just fighting that back against the wall, is where you really, really shine. It's
I'm not saying I like it, but yes,
yeah, no,
you know,
it's like this. Yeah, no, I get it though. It's the adrenaline. If you can bottle that and use it for a later date, whew,
yeah,
I tell you what, it definitely, yeah, it definitely makes. I've never been through anything that you've been through, but I've had my own primal that those old primal moments that I can relate with that I understand, that feeling and that want it back, because it's just, I screwed up a roofing company um, and all kinds. I've screwed up 2 or 3 different kind of companies, and I'm just like
that's how you
trying to
learn.
do it, trying to do it better this time, right? And so, getting all the right pieces in place and doing everything, and just going out there. I think the best times in my life that I've ever had has been when I'm definitely trying to prove everybody wrong, where I just do not give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I am here to take, and that is it. Um,
That's like Man's Search for Meaning was
yeah,
a nice book. A lot of people recommend it. It's not really my thing because I'm like the real search for meaning is do you to mean something for yourself. And what
yeah,
I mean by that is you're like proving it's not even it wouldn't matter if it was J&R's roofing or JMP's roofing or Bob's roofing. You just
yeah,
need an enemy. We need an
yeah,
enemy. We need competition that we can go against and we can win,
yeah,
and or that we lose against that makes us become better either way. We're
yeah,
very competitive uh, by nature. Some people overly competitive.
yeah. I like that though.
But
It's a testament to who their parents are, and also what they've gone through, I don't know if your childhood was freaking roses, but mine was not. Uh, my childhood was very, very checkered. I know you said something about as an adolescent going to prison. Um, so like it's not I think that a lot of the what we're talking about there, that fight, that back against the wall, it originates from that childhood, like that primal fear to make it.
yeah,
Am I wrong?
yeah, we probably us kids that didn't grow up with a silver spoon, when our back was against the walls, when we figured out how to eat a mayonnaise sandwich or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
You're probably right. It is some primal instinct from not having a lot when you were a kid. When we had to go make shit happen. We had to go make shit happen.
Yeah. So, you a man of faith?
Yes.
Sweet. Yeah, I think it's important. Um, everybody looks at that. Society even looks at that now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. We live in a weird time. You know.
We
It,
can't
but
figure out our gender roles, but we definitely want to know whether or not you're a Christian or not.
But it's such a cool time to be alive, and we're really fucking this up. Like as a society,
You are
really
you're right.
fucking this up, man. Like, dude, we have presidential candidates on both sides that are going on podcasts. This means that the small guys like yourself, this means that we've got an opportunity to do big shit. Podcasts are getting huge right now. Like,
Yeah,
dude, like no president in the past went and visited like the local radio station. That's not how
right.
that happened. They didn't go visit the dude that was running multi-level marketing meetings in his garage and shit. But now
Yeah.
we're at that point where that guy has now got an audience and these presidential candidates are getting on there.
Did you vote?
We're seeing what's that?
Did you vote already?
Tomorrow. I'm gonna go vote tomorrow.
I
So
voted yesterday. First day,
yeah,
baby.
yeah. Yesterday was the first day
It's
here.
Yep.
So I got it on my calendar to go tomorrow morning. But
The
you know
line was insane.
what I bet it was. And where are you located?
Woodlands.
Oh, okay. So you're here in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, love it. All right.
Yeah.
Uh Yeah, so we have the little guy is winning, man. We have so
Yeah.
much technology that we've got artificial intelligence, social media, web development, SEO. All these things are like at our fingertips. Just being resourceful is one of the biggest skill sets that you can have right now. We live in a time where the lights are always on. Even if a hurricane happens, we're trying to do our best to get things rebuilt and restore life back to normal. What used to take a decade now takes a day, so on and so forth. It's such a good time to be alive. And all we ever hear about is the bad shit going on. There's
Yeah.
like 7 billion people in the world. And look, I'm not saying take away the bad shit, because who doesn't love a
Yeah.
good fucked up story? I'm all for it, right? But like, and I'm not saying you got to tell us all good shit, but like, just tell us some neutral shit. You know,
Yeah.
like I think the world really started falling apart when the news came on 24 hours a day. And because they had to find a reason to keep your amygdala triggered so that you'd watch it and be scared of what's coming next. And I think we're kind of seeing a backfire on that. But in reality, you know, despite an election, despite all the conspiracy theories that are out there and everything else, we live in a great fucking time to be
Oh
alive.
yeah.
We could be dragging plows behind mules, but instead we're driving badass fucking pickup trucks and, you know, have air conditioning in our homes and
Yeah.
freezers full of food and shit. So, you know,
Dude, not to mention, we're at a really crazy time. We've had 2 attempted assassinations
yep.
within this campaign. Not We're not talking about a year, we're not talking about 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. It has been a long fucking time
Within
since
like
an
90 days.
assassination.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, so I man, what do you think about that? You think, you think that the other side is behind this, or do you think that the nation is just kind of on edge? They're not wanting someone like him in office.
Well, you know, I used to have a very strong opinion about all of this stuff. And
Yeah,
then I realized that we're never going to fucking know. And then when they tell us, okay, fine, we'll tell you the truth, and they tell us the truth, we don't even know if that's the truth. Right.
right.
So
I agree.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it. It's like, okay, dude, you know, took a shot at him. He missed. Clearly, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Sadly, killed somebody that was in the crowd, but then they
yeah,
killed that dude. So there's kind of an eye for an eye. That's up for, you know, we took a shitty one of theirs. Sounds like they got a good one of ours.
right.
But at the same time, you know, I don't know if I'm sure there's a conspiracy somewhere. I mean,
Yeah,
and I don't know what side did it. And I honestly think, you know, I want Trump to win. Obviously, I'm going to vote for him because, you know, on everything. And I'm a moderate somewhere in the middle. I'm not a
yeah,
Republican or Democrat, but I'm going to vote for Trump because, I mean, I don't have anybody in my life right now. I don't think that doesn't have some sort of feeling of less money or less success or whatever the case may be for their business or whatever. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going broke or whatever, but I don't know
yeah,
anybody who's not feeling this in one way or another that they weren't feeling the previous 4 years. So I'd like to have that at least one more 4 year run before shit gets messed up. You know what I mean? Like at least give us one more run of good money and a good economy for a few years to get ahead again. So, but that may not happen either, you know. And so there's really no guarantee of anything. So what I do is I wake up every day and I do the best that I can do to make sure my calendar's full, do the best that I can do to make sure that I deliver good value if I'm on a podcast like this, or that I make sure that I have the right call to action and product for the person if I'm on a sales call. I try to do my best to lead the team here in the office every chance that I get in the best direction that I can and be a good example for them. And, you know, is there certain people I like in the Oval Office other than, you know, one more than the other? Absolutely. I'm definitely voting for Trump. I think he's going to win. I don't see how the hell he wouldn't win, but you know, they got me in 2022, so we'll see. But at the same time, I know that I got to get to work and do whatever I got to do, because here's my true belief, and I'll leave you with this, is there's going to be a point in the next decade, like we're talking 10 years, so 2034, right? That you either worked your ass off and figured out how AI works, and you figured out how the internet works, and you figured out how to take your business and automate 90% of it. So now you've got a working business that makes money, that doesn't necessarily require much of you there. Because that's the way technology is working, right? You replace your sales guys with automatic callers and AI voice generated response systems and all this stuff, which already exists. And there's fucking great versions of it. And you build this sort of business in a box, but it's business on the internet for whatever it is. Roofs, you're generating leads. The people are calling them, the drones fly over the house. You're never going to have to leave and knock doors and shit like that. Everything is going to be automated. And the people that don't embrace that and start learning how to put that puzzle together right now are going to be left behind almost instantly in the next 10 years when technology replaces everything. And it's not just roofs, it's real estate, mortgages. Like, it's a short period of time before we don't need loan officers anymore, that we just take pictures of all of our mortgage documents and all of our tax returns, and the AI goes through and reads all of it, underwrites it, gives us a mortgage loan or not. It's all fucking coming. We don't need paper appraisals for much longer on homes, because they've got machines that can see the same thing the appraiser sees with AI, and they can tell you what the hell the house is worth. Now they need is a photographer to go out there and take a picture. And the people that don't get on board with the technology will be left behind. In 10 years from now, we're going to have the haves, people like myself, who, adapted to technology, made sure that I knew what the hell was going on. I got in front of it, built a business around it, and had it, make sure that the business that I'm growing, no matter what it's in, is going to continue to thrive because I've got this technology on my side. Or the people who missed out and now they're pouring on universal basic income. And I only laugh because it's fucking terrible to even think this, but the people who miss out, they're going to be on universal basic income. And the rich people that fucking built these things, these machines, we're going to be in control for a long fucking time, like the Vanderbilts were with the railroads.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see that, and I concur, because, if you look in just, let's say, the roofing industry, you look in real estate in the industry, really, right now, PE is just gobbling up companies. They're coming in and those large PE conglomerate companies are doing just that. They're getting large buy-ins, they're automating absolutely everything.
Oh, I'm well
And
aware. We
one
started that trend.
Yeah, I know a guy that'll sell $6 million from his house this year. So you're 100% correct. If you're out there and you're not on board with the systems and the processes, the AI, you're not learning it and investing in it, you're definitely going to be left in the freaking dirt, like light years. Yeah, universal basic income. You sound like almost like a Terminator type situation in the future, and really, like, I've been saying this, like, if you aren't paying attention now, it's gonna be too late.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be too late. So, speaking of Skynet, what do you think about the Cybertruck?
There was a roofing guy here at an event a couple of weeks ago, and he had it wrapped. And I was like, that makes sense. It's kind of like wrapping a Hummer back. The realtors around here all wrapped like H2s and
Yeah.
H1s back in the day because they stood out. They were something different. The Cybertruck wrapped with a company logo on it. It's cool, but I wouldn't drive one, bro. I'd drive an F-250.
Yeah,
I
I
got a
can't.
truck, damn it. So a real
It
ranch truck. Dude,
it's definitely a little different.
I hate to ship off, man, but I have a
Dude,
corporate training here in like 3 minutes.
no problem. Ladies and gentlemen, and bro, I appreciate you coming along. It has been a live stream. We've talked about all sorts of stuff. We've talked about AI. We've talked about our past. We've talked about
Two
um,
weeks of conversation.
yeah, generating great income, good habits, and our sponsors, the Chad T. Wilson Law Firm. The insurance carrier denies delays and defends their position. Don't hesitate. Reach out to me, and I'll get you in contact with the right people over there. Your clients, and you deserve Chad T. Wilson Law Firm. Ryan, thank you so much for coming along. It was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
You guys have a wonderful day.